Part of the computer, master. All right. And sharing the screen, PowerPoint. Make it bigger. All right, so shifting gear, as you can see. Now we're going to start talking about some different approaches to reading. This isn't necessarily anywhere on the reading rope, so we're stepping away from this layout briefly. So this is just thinking about what kind of learner would benefit from each of these two styles. And so the two styles that we have listed here are top-down. So top-down approaches are based on the idea that language is whole and it's learned and understood in the context of whole sentences and discourses, not built up from itty-bitty bits and pieces. So they focus more heavily on using whole texts and writing whole texts. This is the top-down. And then bottom-up approaches start with some of the smallest meaningful units of language and give students practice combining and manipulating those units. Learning meaning as the units are built up. They focus on letters, sounds, syllables, word parts, and words. I think, there we go. And then most of the approaches we see and that we take are actually integrated approaches. So think of it more as a continuum rather than two, separate, discrete blocks. So integrated approaches use aspects of both bottom-up and top-down theories to make teaching methods that take advantage of the strengths in order to meet the needs of all kinds of learners. So let's see, this is a bit of participation. So I will read one of the blocks and you guys just shout out if you think it's more top-down or more bottom-up. So does anyone need me to repeat what top-down and bottom-up are? I give a quick summary. No, I hear no objections. Okay, so first one, learning the ABC song, more top-down or more bottom-up?
Bottom-up.
Good, yes, I agree. So it's the little itty-bitty bits and pieces. So telling a story as the teacher writes it out for you.
Top-down.
Mm-hmm. Good. Or I guess I shouldn't say good or bad. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong answer. There's a better or worse answer, I guess. Anyways, you guys are doing great. Drawing a picture and coming up with a sentence or story about it.
Top-down.
Top-down.
Good. Okay, so filling in the missing letter in a word.
Bottom-up.
Bottom-up.
Good. And writing words or phrases that are dictated.
Bottom-up.
Bottom-up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say it's like if bottom up is 1 and top down is 10, I'd say it's like maybe a 3 or a 4, but yes, so good. Identifying vowels in the student's name together.
Bottom-up.
Bottom-up.
Good. And discussing a day in the life or a routine, putting words to it.
Top-down.
Mm-hmm. Good. And breaking words into syllables to sound them out.
Bottom-up.
Good. And last row, you guys are doing great. Going through a wordless picture book to create a narrative together.
I'd say top-down.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, wordless picture books are great. There's a lot of them out there. You can find them at thrift shops. I actually was going to bring one in that I got at my most recent thrift shop outing, but there are also free PDF ones available if you just Google wordless picture books. So, okay, so discussing the pictures in a story book before looking at the words.
Top-down.
Mm-hmm. Good. And drawing a line to connect a picture with a word.
Top-down.
Yeah. Probably. And then reading headlines or topic sentences to make predictions.
Top-down.
Good. So yeah, it seems like you guys have a pretty good grasp of that. Good. So that's just something to be aware of. It's not necessarily anything you would have to explicitly say to your student. Now we're going to do a bottom-up exercises, get your phonics flashcards out, but just so you as a teacher can help strategize. So a lot of times in the public school system, I remember how I learned phonics was very bottom-up. And so we'll be going to, or actually it's on this slide. So the reading group, top strands are much more top-down concepts, and then the bottom strands that we will be discussing are more bottom-up, and they get kind of into the nitty-gritty, and so they won't, a lot of the concepts are things you won't have to tell your students. You won't necessarily need to define a syllable to them and make them learn the definition and what it means, but as long as they can tell you how many are in. So, all right, and then before we do that, we will go over some of the resources that are available. And I don't remember if I'm just sharing my PowerPoint window or if I'm sharing my entire window. So I'm going to stop the share and start a new one. Full screen. All right. So here's some of the resources listed that we use a lot here at Catholic Charities. One is ABC English. It gives you a 30-day free trial, but beyond that, you do need a subscription. I think it's pretty reasonably priced. So let's go to their website. I have logged out because I don't want to share or record things that people are supposed to be paying for. So they have systematic phonics. And so what they use is actually pretty close to what we call the Laubach method of teaching phonics. And so they, if it loads, oh wait, I wanted to click on the example. So they focus on associating a letter with a sound and a letter with a picture, a letter and a sound with a picture. And so sample alphabet sound 1. Here's one of the examples that they have. And it's very well laid out, very teacher friendly. So here's what is included in the PowerPoint, and then you'll have this. So it has the teacher prompt here, and you'll just ask the students again and again, what do you see? And they'll tell you, the first one is baby. It's the same mother, just kind of shift their focus to baby. And so this would be learning the letter B. And then cup. If they say mug, just correct them gently to cup. So learning these sounds in groups. And so I'll just page through really quickly. This is their sample. So here you have different activities, ready to listen. So it's very integrated with a bunch of different skills. So ABC English, great resource. Then next we have PowerPoint. SIL, we don't really need. So really great reading. This is another resource that I've taken a decent amount of content from. So they offer, where did my internet go? There we go. So they offer actually free webinars. And I was talking to Terry about this the other day. Very systematic phonics instruction it's aimed for children in the public school system, but I think it would work pretty well with adults. I've used this with one of my low literacy students in July, and she enjoyed it. So so science of reading workshops. And so these are great. They're pretty long. They're about 6 hours, but very informational and practical. So, and I'll be noting things throughout the rest of the presentation that have come from really great reading in the science of reading. And next up is, so, okay, I don't want my bar to be here. Trying to click on my tabs. All right, so some of you may be familiar with this. It is an ESL site that is bilingual in Spanish and English. Really great. They do a lot with family literacy. So a lot of times, since we as Catholic Charities do not handle family literacy or children at all, we just focus on the adults. We try to give our families resources that can help their kids, and this is one of them. So, as well as directing them to their local schools as well and partnering in that. So, and then lastly, we just have our Catholic Charities resource page. So this is just a compilation of different resources that we have put together. So some of it's government websites or national or international organizations that have data and current trends in migration and refugees. Some of them are teaching, so you can see ABC English is here, and actually that link is broken and I need to go fix that. So all of these are here for you. Ooh, a lot of my links are broken. That's really sad. I shouldn't have scrolled all the way down. Okay, so moving on. Now I have to stop this and start my webcam. No, not the webcam. The document camera. So, is it working? There we go. So I found this in the drawer of my desk the other day, and it's great. So at Catholic Charities, for those of you who are volunteers with us, these are also available to check out from our library. We have a Phonics Kit that was put together by my predecessor. And so in it are a bunch of different parts. But what I just wanted to highlight is, get this out. That's all right. They have a ton of different activities printed out for you to do and walk you through it, and then the materials that go with it as well. So this is very well pre-put together. Lots of ways to manipulate different words and letters. So, and then there's actually a picture of it on the slide, which maybe I should have stuck to better. Dump this on the floor and clean up afterwards and pretend that nobody will know. And then we also have, that goes pretty well with it, the literacy kit. So we have a bunch of binders that are our literacy kit. That's upside down. That's okay. So again, it's just some printouts of the conversation cards, again, to have that visual stimulation for your students. You have, so you can talking about the weather, right? So pointing, talking, and then you have different sections. So section 1 is developing oral and numeracy skills, basic information about the student, and learning how to talk about that with them. Alphabet and phonics section, handwriting skills, etc. So these, again, great resources to dig into. All right, and I will go back to my PowerPoint. So first things first, share screen. There we go. Okay. Move this tab up and start the slideshow. All right. I don't know how you teachers did it during the pandemic when every day with classes on Zoom. You guys are great. All right, so this is just a rehash of the resources we just went over, say ABC English, and then the pictures associated with the sounds. So the Arabic one was kind of cool, I thought. So this is actually a resource from ABC English and that they offer. It is a virtual manipulative set of letters and sounds, and then they want you to associate it with colors. So each sound, not each letter, each sound gets a color. So you ask how many sounds are in the word. And so we can go over examples of that later, but I don't want to get pinged for copyright infringement, so I'm going to flip my slide. So Phonics Kit ingredients. So this is more a nice even layout of what's in the Phonics Kit because my document camera didn't go up high enough to capture all of it. And then picture of the other thing you just saw, the literacy kit. So good. So that's the resources. How are we doing? This is where I would normally take a break if we hadn't already. Good. Nods. Okay. So moving on to the bottom strands. So phonological awareness. So what is phonological awareness? It is just the idea that the concept of knowing words are made up of sounds. So that was easy, simple. But again, as native speakers, sometimes we're not aware of how sounds versus letters are. Well, we are aware of the inconsistencies, I would say, but okay, so an example to illustrate what I am trying to say. So can somebody tell me what this picture is that you see?
Pen.
Pen, good, thank you. And so how many sounds are in the word pen? Can someone tell me?
I'd guess 3.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. So pen, P-E-N, pen. Good. And so you also hear the p, e, n, pen. Good. So 3 sounds or phonemes. So hang on to that word. And then there's the P sound, the short A sound, and the N sound. Good. Ready for another one? Good. Okay. So can we agree on what this is? Tell me what this picture
Ship.
is. Good. Ship. So, and as a counterexample, if you are doing an activity like this with your students, you'll want to have, again, consistency in how you ask this. So probably just stick with, what is this? Instead of batting around the bush like I've been doing. Can someone tell me what this is? What does this look like? Just, what is this? Short and simple. So good. Ship. So can somebody tell me how many sounds are in this word?
3.
3.
Good. Yeah, 3. And can someone tell me what those sounds are?
Sh, I, p.
Good. Great. I don't know who that was, but great job. Ship. Sh, I, p. Good. So we have the SH, which is a digraph, and then the short I and P. You guys are experts. All right, last one. Can we agree what this word is? What is this? It's kind of tricky. Good. Slip. Yeah, I couldn't find a great picture. So good. Slip. So this word is slip. Can somebody tell me how many sounds are in this word?
Four.
Good. Yes. I think that was April. I saw her name pop up. Good. So slip. So good. This is 4 sounds, even though a lot of times you see the S and the L together. What makes this different from ship is that you hear a distinct S and L sound. So this is what we would call a blend, the SL blend versus the SH digraph. It's actually a completely different sound than S and H together. So, and we'll go over that a little later. So another method, and this is from Really Great Reading, but I've also seen variations of it, and you might as well have familiarity with variations of it. So this is a way to kind of isolate and segment the different sounds in a word. It's meant to be more of a TPR method. So sometimes you see counting out, or like I've seen kids learn to count syllables down their arms, but we can also do this with letters and sounds. So the routine here that they try to teach is say it, stretch it, and scoop it. So you would say a word, like if you give your students the word dog, for example, have them repeat it back to you. And so you know that they heard it right. And then have them stretch it. So what that looks like is d, a, g. So one finger for each sound they hear. And then scoop it. So like scoop it back to their chest and say it again. So d, a, g, dog. And then that's an easy example. For the second one, we can also have think. So you can ask, say it, think, stretch it, think, scoop it. So, and then as the students progress, you can also build vowel awareness by adding, which vowel sound do you hear, have them tell you, because vowels tend to be the most unpredictable components of the English language. So now here is just a cool little graphic that illustrates the difference between phonemes, graphemes, and letters. As you can see, phonemes are the sounds that make up a language. They're independent of text or lettering. Then graphemes are the written form of the phonemes. There's a 1-to-1 ratio. Versus letters, we have 26 letters in the English language, but many more sounds than that. So you can see where some of the inconsistencies in the English language come from and the subsequent confusion. So again, if you have any questions or want more clarification, feel free to stop me and I will do my best. So, okay, so phonemes, the smallest distinguishing unit of speech in a given language and exists independently of a written form, versus graphemes, in English, a letter or consistent combination of letters used to spell out a sound. So, and then again, a sound is a phoneme. Note that graphemes and letters are they're not exactly the same things. So we will see more examples of that. Excuse me. So can someone just read these two words that just popped up at the bottom of our screen?
Hat, bat.
Good. Hat and bat, thank you. So this is just to highlight the difference between phonemes. This is what we would call a minimal pair, and so these are words that differ by one sound. And so in your handout, you also have, I had an example. I just want to go through it with you. You have a list of minimal pairs and different words that you can practice with your students. And this is good for listening discrimination, and as well as learning how to read whenever that difference in one sound is represented by a difference in more than one letter. So, all right, so the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Can someone tell me why this sentence is special? Some of you have seen this before.
Uses all the alphabet.
Good, yes. So uses every letter in the English alphabet. We call this a pangram. So, and then this next one, we have the beige hue on the waters of the loch impressed all, including the French queen, before she heard that symphony again, just as young Arthur wanted. So this is, can anyone tell me why this is special? Let me look at your faces so I can see any deer in the headlights. All right, so this is a phonetic pangram, or a sentence that uses all these sounds in the English language. You can see the difference in length. So this is to illustrate just how many different sounds there are in the English language. And this is, again, not accounting for difference of accent or dialect. So we all know how many letters in the English alphabet, yes? Okay, I saw a nod. And can somebody guess how many phonemes there are? Take a whack at it. I see your mouth moving. I can't hear you, Mom. That's okay. So, okay, 26 letters. There are 44 plus, if you account for accents and such, 44 phonemes. And of those 44, 18 of them are vowel sounds. So, and how many vowels do we have in our alphabet? Not 18. Good. So that's just, again, to illustrate examples of how English can seem kind of crazy. So this is just a list of examples, common digraphs and blends. Again, a blend is a consistent combination of letters where you hear all of the distinct sounds. So the BL is common, well, actually, so this blend is made up of a digraph and a separate letter. So, and then a digraph. So technically trigraphs and quadrigraphs, if you just say digraph, I'm pretty sure like other teachers or whoever cares about this stuff will know what you mean. But you only hear one sound despite multiple letters being there. And then diphthongs are two vowel sounds smushed together. So teaching those are also fun. So, okay, so moving on to, we are sticking to our reading rope, I'm sorry. So that was phonological awareness. And this is still, so the first strand in your reading rope. And then this is getting to the second part of the phonological awareness. So, and then we'll move on to the second strand in the bottom half of the reading rope. So syllable types. This is one, I've seen this before, but also it is highlighted in Really Great Reading. They use the acronym Velcro to help remember all the 6 main syllable types we have in English. As you can see, there are vowel teams, the vowel plus consonant plus E, also known as the silent E, magic E. I've heard it called the strongman E because he like bullies everyone. The consonant plus L plus E. So like in the words nestle or little, we also call this the syllabic L often. So if you listen to the word little, you hear like little, oh, there's not much of a vowel there. So that's its own syllable. So the syllabic L, closed syllables, the R controlled syllables, and then the open syllables. So what are syllables? Based on dictionary.com, they're an uninterrupted segment of speech consisting of a vowel sound, a diphthong, or a syllabic consonant with or without preceding or following consonant sounds. So that's kind of a mouthful. Do I have animations on this slide? Okay. So the pictures that you see to the right are just different methods that are popular when it comes to counting out syllables. We mentioned finger stretching or just counting on your fingers. We also have the clapping, which is fun. Then there's also one where you have the student place their hand under their jaw and count how many times their jaw opens, drops. So that's meant to count the syllables as well. But the trick there is they have to really enunciate. Because English is fun and you can like be lazy and not really move your mouth a lot, but you can still basically hear what I'm saying and understand it. So it's kind of weird like that. So just enunciating. Okay, so closed syllables. This is probably the most important syllable type. And so we're just going to go over these in a bit of detail. So you don't necessarily need to teach your students familiarity with CV notation, but what it stands for is, consonant vowel. So wherever you would see a B, C, etc., that's what that stands for. So a closed syllable is a syllable with a vowel before a final consonant. Final just means last or ending, like the last place. And so that what is important about closed syllables then is if we know the syllable is closed, if we know the vowel is closed off by a consonant, usually that means that the vowel has a short sound, so a short vowel sound. It makes it predictable. And so that, again, that predictability and giving students the tools to recognize sounds in environments is helping to build the reading fluency and eventually comprehension. So if you take a look at all of these words, you can break them up into closed syllables. So miss, and so again, or not again, but I should note that you can have preceding consonants before the vowel, and that still counts as a closed syllable. So like miss in misunderstood, the miss is the first closed syllable, understood. An example, if I, where's my video? One way you can do this with your, wait, that's not what I wanted. I had what I wanted. Post-it notes are a great way to do this with your students. You can write out a syllable, closed syllable. Can someone read this for me?
Vol.
Good. And here's the next closed syllable. Oh, well, closed-ish. But
Tier.
good. And last one. Sorry, there's a bit of a glare. Good. And so some of these syllables are kind of nonsense. You can probably guess what word I'll be spelling. But the idea is it's not necessarily a bad thing to play around with nonsense syllables, because a lot of times those nonsense syllables combine to make bigger words, and students love it when they can read a big word. So volunteer. So again, helping them meet, giving them strategies for success and building up to it. So, and I'm going to share my screen again. So that's just another example of ways we can use common classroom things. Okay, why do I have two PowerPoints up now? That's okay. Okay, so closed syllables. So can someone give a shout out? What percentage of syllables do you think are closed in the English language? I think I told someone yesterday. So Sorry, why am I not clicking? Oh, okay, so predictable short vowels. Okay.
75%?
Close. That's actually on the next slide. But
54%.
yes, good job. You're very smart, Mom. So good, yeah. So 54%.
Yeah, right.
So, well, you taught me half this stuff, so. All right. So yes, closed syllables. There's a lot of them. Or really great reading suggests that you start with teaching closed syllables, just because, again, they make up so much of the English language. So if students can read, 54% of the syllables they encounter, they're that much closer to fluency. So good. So this is where the 75% comes in. When you combine closed syllables with open syllables, that makes up about 75% of our syllables. Ooh, that's a typo. Ooh, I want to go fix that, but I'm not going to. Okay, so open syllables. This is just where there's a vowel. So can someone tell me what this top picture is on the left?
Potato.
Good, potato. And the bottom picture?
Radio.
Good, so good. And I hear you guys naturally enunciating those long vowels, those open syllables. So good. Again, the predictability factor there is if you know it's an open syllable, you know it's a long vowel. So not 100% of the time because it is English. So, but yeah, so it's a good indicator. Other syllable types, which we won't be going over in detail just due to time. There's, they call it the magic E. So that's a vowel consonant, and then the silent E is what I had growing up. The R controlled, which changes the vowel sound slightly. Sometimes it reduces it, sometimes it, anyways. And then vowel teams, so the two vowels go walking, first one does the talking rule. Yeah, so teaching those in after the other 75%. So these two big important ones that make up 75%, then move on to the smaller ones. Once you build the predictability in the rules, then you kind of show students like this is kind of how they get bent or broken. So you may or may not get to this in a literacy level class. Sometimes I think they do go over some of this in level 1. So, all right. So yeah, syllable types, all of them. I think we'll skip this. I don't remember when I last stopped sharing or stopped recording. We'll keep going for a bit after syllable. So there are other syllable activities. You could have syllable sorting. So again, with the post-it notes, if you have a bunch of the post-it notes saved up after a session or a class, you can have the students sort them into those, closed, open, or controlled, etc. Nonsense syllable creation, so having them build their own syllables and then read them to you, or combining syllables to make real or nonsense words. So these are all good skills that we'll talk about in the next section or the next section. So, all right, here's where I'm going to stop recording just so I